Coming up on the Q30 Newscast, a Quinnipiac student falls into a well and 5 others are arrested on the same night.
And election night comes to Connecticut, bringing a new mayor to New Haven, but a familiar face to Hamden.
The news starts now.
Live from the Ed McMahon Center, this is the Q30 News Nightcast.
And good afternoon and welcome to the Q30 Newscast. I'm Taylor Popielarz.
And I'm Steph Fasano. A Quinnipiac student was rescued from a well Thursday night after a massive Halloween party at 3235 Whitney Ave was shut down by Hamden police.
The student was outside of the party when he fell about 15 feet down the dry well. Police say the well was most likely camouflaged by leaves, causing the student to not see the hole.
It took 30 minutes for the student to be rescued by the fire department. Police arrived to more than 500 people on the property, many of which were intoxicated, according to Hamden police.
The 5 tenants of the home were charged with breach of peace, but they were released on written promises to appear in court November 6th, in Meriden.
These 5 tenants weren't the only Quinnipiac students in trouble this Halloween weekend. Police made 17 arrests and broke up 14 large house parties. On Friday night, it took 10 Hamden police officers to break up a party of about 500 college students at Todd Street. Early Saturday morning, officers responded to Washington Ave due to a report of a large crowd causing a disturbance. Many Hamden residents are not happy about the Quinnipiac off-campus party scene, especially after this past Halloween weekend. Q30 News talked to Quinnipiac students who are speaking out about the ongoing problem.
A lot of the Hamden people are, there's too many parties going off campus, and I would say they're always going to speak out about, what's going on in the school.
Election night in Connecticut is making headlines, but for low voter turnout numbers in some areas. The Hartford Current reported Tuesday that at 5 p.m., under 4% of registered voters in Hartford cast their votes. The low numbers were trending throughout the state, with most towns reporting less than 30% turnout as of 5 p.m. Connecticut residents have a history of low numbers at the polls. Over the past few years, an average of 30% of registered voters come to cast their votes. But there is a new mayor of New Haven. On Tuesday, Connecticut State Senator Toni Harp beat out competitor Justin Elicker to win the New Haven mayoral election. Harp is the first female to become the mayor of New Haven. According to the New Haven Register, Harp won the election by a margin of less than 6% after Labor. She is replacing longtime Mayor John DeStefano, who has been in office since 1994.
And highways and bridges in New Haven are getting facelifts at the cost of $2 billion. Q30 News' Taylor Popielarz has more.
If you've driven around the greater New Haven area recently, these sounds should not be surprising. All the commotion is part of a multi-billion-dollar construction program that is improving miles of roads and multiple bridges throughout the state.
It's a full transportation package for the region.
That's Brian Mercure, an assistant engineer who has been overseeing this program since 2008.
We have a transportation infrastructure problem in the entire country.
And that's exactly why this construction is happening. Brian and his team have been renovating the highway system from Branford to New Haven. This includes expanding the amount of lanes and revamping the way commuters will enter and exit Interstate 95.
We need a total rehaul.
One of the premier projects within this entire construction program is the reconstruction and expansion of I-95, both northbound and southbound. Behind me, you could see construction workers working on the addition of the 5 new southbound lanes. Despite these improvements, some commuters are not so happy with the project.
When a lot of money is being spent on something like this, there should be oversight by the people who actually use the roads.
But according to Brian, the money is being spent for the people.
When the commuter's traveling, his time is worth some money. So if it takes him an hour to get to New Haven, that's an hour's worth of that man's to a woman's time.
The program is scheduled to be complete by November 2016. For Q30 News, I'm Taylor Popielarz. Chaos unfolded Monday a little after 9 p.m. at the Garden State Plaza in Paramus, New Jersey. Police identified the suspect as 20-year-old Richard Shoup, saying he opened fire in the mall, causing panic. A lockdown and an evacuation after 9 p.m. No injuries or fatalities by the shooter were reported. Police searched the mall until 3:20 a.m. when they found Shoup's body in an area under construction. Police officials say Shoup was a known drug dealer and abuser and believe he started shooting in an attempt to be killed by police. Police say he died by a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. And coming up, as the Yale game approaches, Quinnipiac students struggle to get their golden ticket.
Plus, a U.S. drone causes problems in Pakistan. Our own Sarah Fidel has this story and more in World News.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
I could really go for a Ray and Mike sub right now.
Come to Ray and Mike's and try our Philly chicken with cheese for just over $4, giant cheesesteak subs, and mouth-watering boar's head sandwiches for as low as $4.75. Q Cash accepted just a mile down the road on Whitney, here at Ray and Mike's.
The Bobcat Shop, located at 1010 Sherman Avenue in Hamden. Your #1 choice for Bobcat merchandise. The Bobcat Shop features 2 floors of countless styles and colors. With a full 19,000 square foot screen printing and embroidery operation on the premises, Campus Customs and Simplify can design and decorate any garment or promotional product as quickly as needed. Stop in and say hi.
At 10 o'clock Monday night, tickets for the men's ice hockey game against Yale were available for students to download for free online. But some QU students say others are using this opportunity to make a profit by selling their free tickets. Q30 News went out and asked students about their thoughts of selling a Yale ticket.
Well, I think that's absolutely distasteful. You know, as a Bobcat and being the biggest game of the year, I would think that these people would cherish their ticket and actually want to go to the game and watch it themselves.
I think it's pretty ridiculous because people that want to purchase the tickets and actually go to the game are kind of screwed because they can't. So basically it's just people pawning off the tickets and they're just taking advantage of the system.
A Central Connecticut State University student caused a campus lockdown on Monday after walking around campus in a Halloween costume that looked like tactical gear with a gun. 21-year-old David Kayam apologized for causing a lockdown that triggered a massive armed response by police. He was charged with breach of peace and was released on $1,000 bail Monday night. But on Tuesday, Kayam was arrested again for first-degree criminal trespassing after he was seen on campus after 1 p.m. Kayam was instructed not to return to campus until he met with university staff. He is scheduled to appear in New Britain Superior Court on November 14th. Pretty crazy news this week with all these suspected shootings, and it's weird that all of it was centering here in the Northeast. But there's a lot of world news happening around the world, and I think we're going to toss it to Sarah Fidel right now for that.
Thanks, guys. Good afternoon, Quinnipiac. I'm Sarah Fidel, and here's this week's World News Update. Parents in Germany are now able to leave the male or female section on a birth certificate blank if a child is born intersex. Germany is the first European nation to officially allow what is being called a third gender option on birth certificates. Infants born in Germany with both sex traits will also be able to select an X on their parents' passports for gender when they get older. Supporters of the legislation say this will give more time to parents and their child before making any life-changing gender reassignment decisions. And 2 French journalists are dead after conducting interviews in Mali. The French embassy says radio journalists Ghislaine Dupont and Claude Vernon were found near the town of Kidal. Radio France International says the journalists were kidnapped near the home of a Tuareg rebel leader after conducting an interview with him. The French president has condemned these killings, which come in the same week as the release of 4 French hostages, which were abducted by al-Qaeda in 2010. And Pakistani security officials confirmed a U.S. drone strike killed the most wanted man in Pakistan. Missiles from an unmanned aircraft killed Pakistani Taliban leader Hakamullah Masood, and there was a $5 million bounty placed on Masood by the United States. Pakistan's prime minister is calling Masood's end the end for potential peace talks with the militants. Many political leaders have criticized the U.S. for the drone strike, saying talks about peaceful negotiations with the Taliban were in the works, and now a new leader is being chosen. And that's all for World News this week. Now back to you guys at the desk.
What started out as a parking lot has blossomed into a unique combination of urban farming and community health care. Low-income families are learning how to grow and cook fresh produce. Nicolette Finelli has more.
It may be close to dusk, but that doesn't stop Araceli Romero from tending to the vegetables growing in this quarter-of-an-acre lot. Her family is one of 45 others who were referred by the health center in Fairhaven to grow and eat fresh foods for better health. A translator was on hand.
Health-wise, they taught them a lot how to take care of themselves. The vegetables do actually help them, their health not only, but a lot of people have been off medication since they started the program. She says it's wonderful how they got educated on all the stuff they could eat and were actually taught how to make it so they could eat it and also enjoy it.
New Haven Farms is a nonprofit organization that works with the Fairhaven Community Health Center. The goal is to treat or prevent diabetes for low-income families. Rebecca Klein is executive director of New Haven Farms.
We had patients who were pre-diabetic. Their sugar was too high to be normal, too low to be diabetic, and they had this opportunity. If they improved their health, they could actually avoid getting diabetes. I was working with them as part of a diabetes prevention program in these gardens. They were taking home shares of the harvest every week, and it was just thrilling to be with them.
Families find harvesting their own vegetables thrilling, but for Jacqueline Mason-Pierre, her thrill is making connections and seeing the impact her work has on these families.
Really great getting to know the members and actually seeing the impact of the work, because so much of my time is spent by myself working in the gardens, but actually seeing the families that have lost weight, that are off their diabetes medication, that they just report that the program really helps their lives. It's really rewarding for me.
While the growing season may be winding down, New Haven Farms hopes to sow more seeds by expanding beyond 7 farms to help more families. Nicola Finelli, Q30 News.
Still to come on the news, WQAQ's Battle of the Bands takes the stage.
And Nick and Nicole bring us the latest in the world of entertainment news.
Yes, my full weather forecast coming up.
I could really go for a Ray and Mike sub right now.
Come to Ray and Mike's and try our Philly chicken with cheese for just over $4, giant cheesesteak subs, and mouth-watering boar's head sandwiches for as low as $4.75. Q-Cash accepted just a mile down the road on Whitney, here at Ray and Mike's.
The Bobcat Shop, located at 1010 Sherman Avenue in Hamden. Your #1 choice for Bobcat merchandise. The Bobcat Shop features 2 floors of countless styles and colors. With a full 19,000 square foot screen printing and embroidery operation on the premises, Campus Customs and Simplify can design and decorate any garment or promotional product as quickly as needed. Stop in and say hi.
On Saturday, WQAQ hosted Battle of the Bands 2013 in BurtCon Court. 11 bands participated in the competition, each performing a 10-minute set. The band, The Sixth Ocean, won the first place prize of $300 and will be the opening act for WQAQ's 3rd annual spring concert in April. WQAQ General Manager Stephanie Griffin says she was happy with the turnout and all of the bands that performed. Speaking of music, Taylor, are you a fan of Justin Bieber?
I'm not. And I don't understand why he's been acting up recently, and by recently I mean like the last 2 years. I just don't think it sets a good example for all his fans. Speaking of a bad situation, he got himself in a bad situation this weekend. Let's toss it over to Nick and Nicole with entertainment.
Thanks, guys. I'm Nicole Cyber.
And I'm Nick Amador. Justin Bieber's wild night in Brazil was not the wild night it was labeled. The 19-year-old was seen in the Rio de Janeiro club Centauros and left with 2 female employees. There was speculation that the club was actually a brothel, but a source told E! News it was more like an old-fashioned gentleman's club. The source also adds those girls do not work for the club. The legal drinking age in Brazil is 18, and prostitution is legal to engage in at the age of 18 and older. Reps for Bieber have not commented on the matter. And it looks like pop star Miley Cyrus wants ex-Liam Hemsworth back. The 20-year-old star reached out to Liam in a letter saying how sorry she was and that her raunchy behavior drew a wedge in their relationship. After 4 years of dating, Miley stated that she cannot deny her and Liam's bond goes deep.
Miley says she was going to write songs about him, but figured a letter would be the best way to patch up their relationship. We will just have to wait and see if this letter will give some closure to the couple's breakup. And Drew Barrymore and her husband William Kopelman are expecting baby number 2. Barrymore's representatives revealed to E! News exclusively her baby news on Monday. Barrymore gave birth to her first child, Olive, in September 2012. During an appearance on The Tonight Show last month, she said she would like to have another baby and wanted a sibling for her daughter. Barrymore talked about her exposed childhood and does not want her kid to live the same life she did. That's all we have for entertainment news this week. Now back to the desk.
Halloween may be over, but Dracula is lingering around Quinnipiac. The play, that is. Quinnipiac's Theater for Community will be performing Dracula at the Buckman Theater on the Mount Carmel campus. The production opens tomorrow night with its last performance on Sunday afternoon. This stage adaptation of Dracula was written by Mac Wellman. The production is sponsored by the Department of Visual and Performing Arts. Student tickets are $8 and general admission tickets are $12.
And the Sisters of Alpha Delta Pi held their annual King of Diamonds fundraiser last night in Burt Conn Court.
Contestant Michael Poland was crowned king after competing in 4 rounds that included a AD Pi Pride, Talent, Jeopardy, and Formal Wear with questions.
The event fundraises for Alpha Delta Pi's foundation Lions Share Challenge. I'm sure that was a fun event. Have you been enjoying the cold recently?
I have not at all, actually. I don't like that.
It's amazing. November came in, and now winter is here.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to toss it over to Megan for the latest in weather.
Good afternoon, Quinnipiac. Let's take a look at the forecast for this week. Looking at the current temperatures, we have some northern winds that are cooling down the Midwest, and we have 61 in Boston and New York. Taking a look at the local weather, we have very high 50s across the state. And looking at the radar, we have the possibility of rain tonight into tomorrow morning, but clearing up shortly after. Now looking at tonight's forecast, we have 51 degrees, mostly cloudy, winds south at 14 miles per hour. And tomorrow's forecast, 60 degrees, showers with winds west at 11 miles per hour. Looking at the 8-day forecast, we have the possibility of rain on Friday, but sunshine and partially cloudy for the rest of the week.
Thank you, Megan. And coming up, the New York Yankees have at least one more year with their captain.
Plus, our own Nikki DeRico has the latest on Quinnipiac sports this week.
We'll be right back.
The Bobcat Shop, located at 1010 Sherman Avenue in Hamden. Your #1 choice for Bobcat merchandise. The Bobcat Shop features 2 floors of countless styles and colors. With a full 19,000 square foot screen printing and embroidery operation on the premises, Campus Customs and Simplify can design and decorate any garment or promotional product as quickly as needed. Stop in and say hi.
I could really go for a Ray and Mike sub right now.
Come to Ray and Mike's and try our Philly chicken with cheese for just over $4, giant cheesesteak subs, and mouth-watering boar's head sandwiches for as low as $4.75. Q-Cash accepted just a mile down the road on Whitney, here at Ray and Mike's.
The captain is returning to the Yankees, at least for one more year. The New York Yankees announced on Friday that Derek Jeter signed a 1-year, $12 million contract.
Jeter only played 17 games this past season because of injuries that placed him on the disabled list 4 separate times. ESPN reported Jeter expects to be healthy and ready for opening day in 2014. And now we'll toss it to Nikki, who has the latest on Quinnipiac sports.
Thanks, guys. The Quinnipiac men's hockey head coach, Rand Pecknold, announced on Tuesday that freshman Peter Quenneville is leaving QU to play for the Brandon Wheat Kings in the Western Hockey League. Quenneville is a 7th-round pick in the 2013 NHL draft by the Columbus Blue Jackets. He recorded 4 assists in 5 games as a Bobcat this season. His last game in a Quinnipiac jersey was on October 22nd in a victory over Bentley, where Quenneville recorded 2 assists. In a press release, Rand Pecknold said, quote, "We wish Peter all the best as he moves on." The men's soccer team ended their game on a tie on Saturday afternoon against St. Peter's. The game ended scoreless after regulation time and 2 overtimes. With this tie, the Bobcats clinch a playoff spot by securing a top 4 seed in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference before playing their last home game in a Quinnipiac uniform. The team's 5 seniors celebrated their senior day. The Bobcats are now 7-4-5 for the season and 5-1-2 in the conference. They will complete the season with away games next week against Ryder and Siena before the MAC championships. And the Quinnipiac women's ice hockey team played its 2nd consecutive conference game at home on Saturday afternoon, coming off of a 6-0 victory over Colgate on Friday night. The team focused on defense as Cornell has scored more than 5 goals in the past 3 games. Cheyenne D'Arcangelo scored her first goal late in the second period. Goalie Chelsea Layden and her defense helped fend off Cornell. Layden had 26 saves and only gave up 1 goal. The goal came off of a penalty shot in the 3rd period to tie the game. It went into overtime, but the game finished in a 1-1 tie. QU heads to Brown on Friday night. That's all for sports. I'm Nikki Dorico. Now back to the desk.
Thank you, Nikki. And that'll do it for the Q30 Newscast.
Stay connected with Q30 News throughout the rest of the week by visiting our Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube pages.
Have a wonderful evening.